This is the Albion Online Island Beginner's Guide for new players. I'm going to teach you all about player islands, guild islands, what's the difference, why would you want an island, how do you get an island, how much does it cost, how do I build things, what should I build? I'm going to answer all of these questions and more. Let's go. Now, why would you want an island? What do they do? Why do you want one? So here's the thing. You can store your stuff on an island, and yes, you can store your stuff in the bank, but an island is way more organized and way more free to, put items in this chest, put items in that chest, not all in one single chest. Islands generate silver. They generate silver by allowing you to grow crops, raise animals, and do laborers. Laborers are a money multiplier. If you're a crafter, you kind of need laborers at some point to break even on your crafts. If you gather, laborers will give you more resources than what you can gather normally, which means more silver for you. And of course, on islands, you can build crafting stations to craft things, though it's not entirely recommended, and I'll go over that later in the video. What types of islands are there, and what are the differences? Well, there's the personal island and the guild island. The personal island requires that you buy at least 7 days of premium, which is not really a thing you can buy from the shop anymore. But a minimum 7 days. The other one is a guild island, which free-to-play players can build. And the difference between the islands is that personal islands can grow crops, raise animals, and stuff like that, whereas a guild island cannot do that. A guild island can house laborers through houses. You can build crafting stations. But guild islands, you can build what's called a guild hall, which is a more efficient way to furnish and manage laborers. More on that also later in the video, but essentially most players will have either bought premium with real money or acquired it through possibly a giveaway. Giveaway for premium codes work if you're still a free-to-play player. Otherwise, you got to pay in-game silver to get a personal island by, buying the 30 days of premium, and once you do that, you will unlock the ability to buy an island. So how do you buy an island? Well, in every city, there is this icon here. It's a little hard to see. This is the island merchant, and they're in every single city. This is Bridgewatch. If we go over to Limhurst, you can see that the island vendor is about in the same spot. If we go over to Fort Sterling, there's the island merchant. It's a little island merchant. She looks like a pirate. She's got a big old red hat. She's got the spyglass. She's got a big grin on her face. You talk to her, and look at that. You can pet horses. No, you can't. You can't pet horses. But you talk to her, and it's going to default on this tab for personal island. This second tab is for guild islands. We'll talk about that later in the video. And then other islands, you can visit other people's islands by giving and being granted access to those islands. But for the most part, to purchase a personal island, you're going to talk to her. And after you have at least 7 days of premium, you can purchase an island for 20,000. So we're going to go ahead and buy the island from her. There we go. We have bought a level 1 out of 6 island. And let me show you what that looks like. Oh, and to visit your island, you can either talk to the island lady or you can talk to the travel planner, which is how you travel around town. And you would click this drop-down box, and you should have your character's name, island, and whatever town it is that you bought the island in. Do note that because I bought this island in Bridgewatch, this is a Bridgewatch-based island. I'm going to talk about island types, what you should and shouldn't grow on certain islands, etc. I'm going to do all of that here in just a little bit, but for now, let's get to the very bare-bones basics. Let's visit the level 1 personal island. So here we are at the personal island, and you'll see that there's just one little plot here. There's not a lot going on. Now, because this is a personal island, you can build a farm plot, you can build a house, you can build a crafting station, whatever you want, and I'm going to recommend that you start with farm plots, but I also don't recommend that you build immediately on a level 1 plot, because maybe you want this to be a house, because this is a nice little stairway, it's up. This is where I like to put my main house, personally, honestly. So I don't like to make this a farm plot, but to build, you would push the H button on your keyboard if you are on a cell phone. I honestly don't own a phone in real life, so I don't know how to play this game on a phone. I don't know what the button is, okay? I'm sorry. But you would go here, this opens the build menu. You can then choose what you want to build. So here's the house. You cannot build a guild hall because it is too big. You can see this is way too big to build. You can only build these on guild islands. But you could build a house and click house, and what happens is you put down a little building kind of thing, and as long as the highlight's green, you can build there. So if we choose to build a house, we now have a bunch of, you know, wooden planks and junk, and if you click on this wooden planks and junk, you'll see that I need to feed this house 30 rough logs, 3 rough stone, and 180 limestone blocks, and once I fill those up, you learned how to do this in the tutorial, then it will construct the tier 2 house, which is just a crappy tent, by the way. But more on how to build stuff later. I just want to go over the very bare basics. Now, this is a level 1 island. I don't recommend that you just stop at a level 1 island. I recommend that you upgrade at least to level 3 or 4. That way you can have a bunch of farm plots, which are very important. If you have premium going, then you have focus, which this character has full focus. And so with focus, you can water crops and make some free money. It's not the most optimal money, but from level 1 to 2 is going to be 500,000 silver. There we go. Now, do note, as soon as you upgrade, it takes 2 real-life minutes for the island to be ready. I don't know why. I don't know if it's for roleplay or if the servers have to adjust. I have no clue. The level 2 island gives you a few extra plots, but it also gives you these smaller little squares, and you're like, well, what the hell are those? Those are for certain refining stations, which you can put a smelter down. You can see the smelter is a tiny little building here. You can put it down in one of these miniature squares. You can also put down a butcher, and I like to have a butcher on my islands, not for money or for actual butchering. I simply use this building to store silver to share across my characters. I don't use it for actual butchering, and I guess I can talk about that real quick. So here is an established island. There's a bunch of decorations on it, a bunch of houses. We got farm plots, but we have the butcher station. And if I click on the butcher station and I, go to administration here, I can move silver in and out of this station by depositing or withdrawing. You can see this station has 157 million silver on it. So if any of my other characters need silver, I can just yoink some out. And not anyone can just come on your island and take your silver. Obviously, I have it set where only certain characters can access this crafting bench. And that's one of the benefits, is that not only can you share silver between accounts and characters, and no, you won't get banned for it. The SBI will look into it if they think you're real money trading, and it's clearly your islands and your accounts. They'll see that you're just moving money between your characters. It's totally fine and completely allowed to do. But also, for instance, this house has a chest, and I can open this chest, and it's got a grizzly bear inside. Huh, that's where that thing went. I was missing a grizzly. But, yeah, you can see here, same thing. I have different characters. Well, I just have these 2 characters that can access this chest. But as the owner on the Swole Benji character, I can add and remove characters that have access to this chest and then mule items accordingly if I want to like make a new character and give them some really good gear without having a friend log in and do it for me. Now, you'll notice on the upgrade screen, it shows what you're going to get. So we're going to unlock this little chunk of land here, and because it's kind of vague of how many plots you get, it says right here, 3 multi-purpose plots. Well, how does that look? Where are they placed? I'm just going to show you by expanding it here. There we go. And then I'll show you the island. And here is the level 3 island. Still not that great. Still needs some improving. Alright, upgrading to level 4 now. There we go. Island's getting a little bit beefier, looking a little bit nicer. This is the level 4 island. It's a nice little circle at this point. That's why I recommend you put the house in the middle. I don't know. That's just my personal preference, but you do you. However you want to make your island is completely fine. Everything is reversible. Upgrading to level 5, there we go. Boom, that activates this little area, and that's target dummies, yay! So here is the level 5 island, and over here you have the target dummies. So if you have builds you want to try out, or damage tests, or any kind of, you just want to see how hard you can hit, well here's target dummies that you can attack. I don't have any equipment on this character, so I'm just punching. And you have healing target dummies if you want to test out your ability to heal. I can't attack these, but I can heal them if I had a healing spell. And then finally we can upgrade to level 6, the maximum level. That's going to cost 2 million, and that's going to add another little chunk over here. It's really nice at this point. And let me just show you what this looks like in cost. So levels 1 through 6, that's how much you're going to expect to spend. It's really not too bad. Now, looking back at the level 6 island here, back in the day, you could not make any of these other plots a farm plot. they were only for housing. But now, you can make all of them farm plots if you want. And later in this video, I'm going to discuss how to do the math and how to figure out how many farm plots you need and how many you should run. I will say that without active premium, without actively getting focus, you should not even bother with farm plots. If you're using your focus on crafting or refining or something else, then you shouldn't even bother with farm plots at all. Don't even bother. Now, one new thing that they've added to the game is the ability to have multiple personal islands, one per royal city. So now I'm in Limhurst, and if I go and buy an island, it's 1 million silver. There we go. Now, if you want 2 or more personal islands, then this is the cost. It ramps up massively, but your third island will cost the same, your fourth island will cost the same, and no, you can't have multiple personal islands in the same zone. So once you build an island in Bridgewatch, that's your island. If you want another personal island, you have to either give premium to another character and share it with your main, which is what I recommend, as paying this amount of silver for a second island in a different, royal city is not really all that useful. I don't honestly know why you'd want to surf around to different cities and have multiple islands there, because one island is more than enough for most players. So here's ways to get a personal island, but you'll need premium. So how do you get premium? Well, you can pay $15. You can also buy it in silver if you have enough. Right now it's 25 million on West or 14 million in Europe. I don't know what it is on Asia. 23 million. You can win a giveaway code from a streamer. This is rare and very inconsistent. I believe channel members have access to a video that teaches them how to win these giveaways much easier and more often. Sandbox Interactive will sometimes give you 5 days of premium if the server goes out, and I've heard rumors that they'll give you 1 week of premium if you report bots, though I report bots all the time and I've never gotten a week of premium. Also, if someone else simply gives you access to their personal island and gives you co-ownership buildability on that island, then you have a personal island, which if people are quitting the game, if you have friends that don't play anymore, you can ask them, hey, can you log in and give me access to your island? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I've got plenty of my islands are actually from being given islands from other players, right? And so, but without premium, you really can't milk the farm plots all too well. It's just not worth the time, and sometimes it's a loss in silver without premium active. So not really something you would need unless you just want the laborers, which is why I use my friends' islands, because most of the time I don't play with premium, I don't grow stuff anymore, I just use it for laborers. More on that stuff later, but let's talk now about guild islands. So a guild hall can be bought by a free-to-play player. You do not need premium for guild islands. However, guild islands cannot have farm plots, they can't have pastures, anything that raises animals or grows a product. You can only have crafting stations, guild halls, and houses on guild islands. You can decorate it and stuff, yes, but it is not something that you can grow food on, for instance. So how do you get a guild island? Well, you have to be the guild master, and so for one, you'll have to make a guild. In order to make a guild, and I recommend that you do this on an alternate character. If you make a guild on your main character, it's a pain in the ass, because if you ever want to join a guild, a real guild with real people, you're going to have to figure out a way to pass your guild to someone else, and then pass it to one of your alt characters to retain ownership, and they could just steal it. So make an alt character, give it some money, and then make a guild there to make a guild island. Don't make it on your main character, unless you're just gonna play solo, or you're done with guilds kind of like I am. So here I've made the guild testing test 1, 2, 3. To make a guild, you push the G button, and then there will be a prompt to, create your guild, pick your guild crest, etc., etc. That's going to cost you 1 million silver. Then, to buy a guild island, you'll have to put 5 million silver into your guild account. You push G, you click the account button, you're going to deposit 5 million. There we go. Deposit. And then you go to the island vendor, and you click this second tab, and I've already bought the guild island on this character. And then you upgrade it the exact same way, and I'm going to tell you how much everything costs. So this is a level 1 guild island. It just has one big plot here, for the guild hall, which is not being built, and it's the same way you give them rough logs, rough stone, limestone blocks, etc., and then that will be built. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you the level 2 guild island, which is what I run on all of my characters. I have level 2 guild islands. I built these back in the day when they were cheaper, okay? Back in the day. This gives you 3 house plots and the guild hall plots. So that was very economically effective back in the day, but now it's very expensive. I'm going to share with you how expensive that truly is. So just to get started with guild islands is 6 million. Again, free-to-play players get punished for not being able to pay real money for personal islands. I tell you, man. It's brutal. But to upgrade is going to be 3,750,000 for the level 2 guild island. So we'll go ahead and do that. Here are the prices for upgrading your guild island. Now, I personally don't recommend anything beyond level 2. It's just not really all that efficient because, and especially anything above level 4, because you're probably better off just having multiple guild islands rather than houses. Because all you do when you improve guild islands, you don't get more guild hall plots, you only get housing plots, which suck. And I'm going to explain how a guild hall is far superior than a housing plot in just a bit. So here is the level 6 guild island. Is still only 1 guild hall. You have target dummies up here that you can play with. This time the damage ones are on the left, the healing ones are on the right. I don't know why they're flipped around like that, but it's just a bunch of plots, a bunch of housing plots. And remember, you cannot build farms on these. Even if you have premium, a guild island cannot own farms at all. Sorry, it's not allowed. You're probably wondering at this point, what is the difference between a house and a guild hall? And maybe you don't even know what a house or a guild hall is. I'm going to explain both of them. They hold what is called laborers, and let me show you what I'm talking about. So looking at a house, and this is a tier 6 house, tier 5 and up houses can have up to 3 laborers. Residents are just people that select this as their home location. That's all a resident is. So if you die, you can teleport back to home, which will put you inside the house or outside the house, and that's all that is. Furniture is how you make laborers happy. So a laborer is a character, which, well, not really a player character, but an NPC that lives in the house. It is not your house to live in. I guess you technically do. You're the resident. It's really weird how it works, but the laborer is there to work for you. This is a gamekeeper. So if I go skin animals, I can fill journals, and we'll talk about journals later in the video, but not so much right now. With a filled journal, I can give it to this laborer, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, because I have a bunch of journals in this chest. I'm going to go ahead and give, here's a tier 2 journal, very basic journal, the earliest of earliest journals. So if I give this laborer a filled tier 2 journal, he's going to give me back 57 rugged hide in 22 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and accept, and then he's going to pump his fist and disappear into the air. And you'll see that he's going to return in 21 hours and 59 minutes. So that's real time, not in-game time. And yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to get 57 hide. He is going to give me that journal back completely empty. Now, laborers need happiness to give you a higher return. So happiness comes from them having beds, a table, trophies. So the happier they are, the higher return they give. And because this is a tier 6 house with a tier 6 laborer and tier 6 furniture, well, it's tier 5 furniture, but just pretend it's tier 6, it doesn't matter. The highest happiness percentage goes to 150. So for tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 journals, I'm going to get a 150% return. But because I don't have tier 6 furniture, they're not as happy as they could be. So if I give them this tier 5 journal, the return is only 130%. I would need tier 6 beds, a tier 6 table, and tier 6 trophies, which I don't think I have in here. Yeah, I just have tier 5. So, and then if I, give them a tier 6 journal, which I don't think I have one. Yeah, I don't have a tier 6 journal to show you, but it would be even less of a return. It would be less than 100%, meaning I'm not getting the maximum value for my journals. So this is why you upgrade furniture, trophies, etc., etc., and the house. The house tier has to be like you can't put tier 6 furniture in a tier 4 house. And anything below a tier 5 house can only have 2 laborers. That's why we upgrade to tier 5. Upgrading to tier 5 is very cheap. We're going to talk about upgrading houses later. Let's talk about guild halls. What is a guild hall? It's the same thing as a house, just bigger. So in this guild hall, I can have 55 residents. That means people setting their home. So if I set home, you'll see it goes from 0 to 1. Laborers, you can have 15 laborers instead of 3. So it's like 5 houses in one. The thing with a guild hall is it's more furniture efficient for your laborers. So what does that mean? Well, generally a bed will make up to 3 laborers happy. Or I'm sorry, a bed makes 1 laborer happy, right? 1 bed per 1 laborer. You can click on the bed. This will add 400 happiness for up to 1 laborers in the house. Okay, that's cool. So that means 15 laborers, 15 beds. Simple enough. Tables are different. Tables are up to 6 laborers. So if you're buying or crafting a table for a house, and a house can only have 3 laborers, well, you're only being half efficient with the table. So the table will give 400 happiness to 6 laborers. All right, cool. But then guild halls also let you just stack trophies like crazy. So you have generalist trophies. This will give you happiness up to 3 per tier. So tiers 2 through tier 8 will increase their happiness. And then, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have specialized trophies, which I don't have any in here because I'm using a generalist laborer of sorts. But in here you have, like, for skinners, you have, like, stuffed boar head, stuffed bear head, etc. These give 10 happiness for up to 3 laborers. So, again, it's just way more furniture efficient. And you can have more furniture, which means you can have specialized trophies like these trophy sharks. And if you're playing on West, you can have these Explorer's Spyglass. I don't think these are available on Asia or Europe because they were only available to people that bought Founders Packs when the game first came out. So yeah, getting 5 of these is very expensive, by the way. But yes, guild halls also, because you can put 15 laborers, it's much more efficient time-wise to turn in the laborers' books and get, you know, the rewards all at once rather than doing it 3 at a time. So, like, let's say I go over to this house and I turn in 3 journals, okay, and collect the rewards. Then I go all the way over to this house and get 3 more. And then I go to this house. You see where I'm going. It's way faster to just run into a guild hall, pop all your laborers, and then run out to your next island. It's way more time efficient to have guild halls than houses. So the number 1 question asked about personal islands is, what should you grow? What plant should you grow? Should you grow food? Should you grow herbs? And the answer is just about anything that you grow will be a similar price because it's not so much supply and demand as it is the time and effort taken to produce the product. If you grow pumpkins, you will grow the same amount of pumpkins as you would carrots. So that means pumpkins and carrots are about the same price. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, you know, it really depends. Some items are slightly in demand more than others at certain times. And I'm going to give you my thesis, my experimentations, and numbers. But before I do that, let me share with you bonus productions per city. So each city will give you a 10% bonus on the following, alright? Bridgewatch has beans, goat's milk, dragon teasel, bundle of corn, raw goat. Limhurst has, you know, the following. Fort Sterling, which I believe has some of the worst bonuses. Thetford, which I believe has some of the best for non-Caerleon. Cabbage and Mulane are very powerful. Marlock also really, really good. Because I'm going to give you my recommendations of what you should grow here in just a bit. Caerleon, it's alright. Brazilian has a bunch, which can be good, but it is kind of out of the way and it's a pain in the ass to transport. Caerleon and Brazilian, a pain in the ass to transport out. For Caerleon, a pain in the ass to transport in. So keep that in mind. Here are my recommendations for whatever crop you should grow. Guaranteed money with a high sales volume is carrots. It's constantly used in feeding animals, making soups to feed stations. It is massively, massively bought. But because it is massively grown and massively bought, it's almost always on the market. So the thing is the best thing that can happen as a crop grower is for the product to be out of stock. When it's out of stock, you can upsell it for way more to desperate players. That's what you want. And the products that constantly go out are corn, because corn is also used in potion making. Goat, because not many people run goat meat for whatever reason. I don't know why. So Bridgewatch has 2 wins there. Alright. Milk is terrible. Beans are terrible. Teasel is oversaturated on West. I don't know about other servers, but it's oversaturated. Not really used too much. Limhurst has a win with carrots. Burdock is another one that goes out a lot. Goose eggs suck. Pumpkins are shared with potion crafting as well, so that's a good one. Raw goose, not that good. Goose eggs, terrible. Hen eggs are the worst. They're like worth almost nothing. Turnips aren't very used too often. Milk is terrible. Ghoul yarrow is great. Ghoul yarrow is in medium demand. It's not high demand, medium demand. Raw chicken, very well used, and raw button, very well used. However, that's like the only 2 wins. Thetford has agaric, which is a tier 2 resource. Absolute garbage. You won't really use that hardly ever. Cabbage is a huge win. Cabbage is used, it's probably the most bought crop is cabbage. Mullein is the highest in demand for potion crafting, and it's also the most often one to go missing besides foxglove, alright? And it's called fire-touched mullein, by the way. And then raw pork. Pork is okay. Marlock has a lot of wins. It has wheat. Wheat is huge, alright? Wheat is a real good money. Like, I've always told people in the past, the #1 crop to grow is wheat. And that probably isn't changing. Potatoes are good because potatoes are also used in potion crafting. Foxglove is the most used ingredient for potions, and because of that, it's not grown by too many people, and therefore it runs out of stock, especially in Bridgewatch. So Foxglove is another choice, another win. If I could go back in time, I would grow wheat and foxglove. That's what I would do. But I chose burdock and comfrey. They still make the same amount of money. And burdock goes out of stock often enough anyway. Cow's milk, it's decent. It's not the best. Raw beef is decent, not the best. Caerleon has comfrey, teasel, and mullein. Again, mullein's a win. Comfrey's a win. Brazilian has carrots, which is a win. Beans sucks. Wheat is a win. Turnips suck. Cabbage is a win. Potatoes are a win. Corn is a win. Pumpkin is a win. Brazilian, it's hard to transport out solo. If you have a friend, it can be very easy to transport out a Brazilian. I have a video on that on my channel. But my recommendation is that you grow wheat or foxglove, or, comfrey or burdock. Those are my 4 top picks. So what all can you grow on an island? If you push H and you go to the farming tab, you can see all the things that you can make here. And so you have a farm, which you can grow, carrots, which will give you, all the crops will give you worms randomly. You got beans, and worms are used for fishing. They're not bad, right? Wheat, turnips, cabbage, potatoes, corn, and pumpkin. Then you have the herb garden. You have agaric. You have, again, you get worms from herb gardens too. Another bonus for why you should grow crops and not other things. I'll talk about that in a bit. You have brightleaf comfrey. You have crenellated burdock. You have dragon teasel, elusive foxglove, fire-touched mullein, and ghoul yarrow. And then you have a pasture, which you can raise chickens, which you can butcher for meat. Chickens also lay eggs. You have goats, which you can milk for goat milk. You have goose, which lay goose eggs. You can butcher them for meat. You can butcher the goat for meat. You can grow sheep and butcher them for meat. You can't shear them. I'm sorry, but you cannot shear them. You have pigs, which you can butcher for meat. Cows, which you can milk and butcher for meat. Then you can raise things like horses and oxes and stags and moose. And you could raise different tiers of these as well, tier 3 through tier 8. All right, and again, you have goat's milk, you have cow's milk, you have sheep's milk, and so on and so forth. So, with that, you have the kennel, the final thing that you can grow stuff on. That has dangerous animals like the swift claw, the dire wolf, the dire boar, the swamp dragon, dire bear, the mammoth, the cottontails, the white and black one. You got moa birds, you got winter bears, boars, rams, lizards, swamp salamanders, gray wolves, owls, and also the faction mounts, which are just different variations of these animals. So you can grow all of those. And here's the construction materials. You need tier 6 materials for the kennel. You need, tier 3 materials for the pasture. You just need rough logs and stone for the farm. And for the herb garden, you just need tier 2 materials, which is not a big deal. The world is plentiful. You can just go to the market and buy all this stuff. It's pretty damn easy to do this. And so, how do you grow things? So, on your plots on your personal island, you would push H, go to the farm tab, and in this example, you would click herb garden. You would slap down the construction materials like I talked about earlier in the video, which will have a bunch of, random construction equipment. You click on it, you feed it the resources, that will complete the herb garden. It's constructed forever. It'll be there until you demolish it. And if you want, you can go to access rights and then give all your other characters access to grow and plant crops and harvest the crops. So how do you grow crops? Well, you have a vendor on all personal islands here, and this guy will sell you seeds, animals, and decorations. Though, it's not a good idea to buy seeds from this guy. You should definitely check the prices. So, we can check the price right now of, like, Comfrey is 5,000, and Crenulated Burdock 7,500. You may be thinking, but this is the most expensive seed, so it makes the most money. No, that's not how this works. All right, different seeds have different return rates, but because you're going to be watering the crops, you'll always get your seed back, so we don't worry about that, okay? And the markets always even out because there's a gorillion people doing this, okay? So it doesn't matter what seed you buy, as long as you're watering the crops, you get your seed back forever. So once you buy the seed, you don't have to buy seeds anymore. You can just infinitely make crops. It's great. And sometimes you get bonus seeds, and you could sell the bonus seeds on the market. So when I'm telling you do not buy seeds from the vendor, what I'm actually telling you to do is go to the market and buy seeds instead, because you'll find them cheaper there. How does growing crops work? Well, it's quite simple. Once you've went to the market and not the vendor and bought some seeds, I've got some Crenulated Burdock seeds here. You click the place button. First, you click it in your inventory. This opens this up. You click place, and this is for an herb garden, placed in an herb garden. So I have an herb garden here, and then I just go and I can place the seed. There we go, we place seeds. So you'll notice there's a watering can icon on top of it, and a cogwheel when I mouse over the crops. So if I click on the crops, right now it's telling me that, I do have premium active because this is the test server. But essentially, you can see that I do have premium active, so I will get a bonus yield. You should never, ever harvest crops without premium. You will be getting half the value, and because the markets are valued at everyone having premium for this kind of activity, you will be losing money if you harvest crops without premium, guaranteed, unless you're on Europe or the economy gets weird. All right? But most likely, it's not weird. So do not harvest without premium. Do not do it, ever. Don't even bother with this stuff if you don't have premium active. Don't bother if you don't have focus. I'm being serious here. So, this is telling me that Crenulated Burdock does not get a bonus because I'm a Bridgewatch island. And remember earlier, I told you which islands get what bonuses. So there's no, it's a 10%, but it's really not a lot. You're not going to notice. So then you have a watering bonus. What is the watering bonus? So right now, because this crop is not watered, it will finish growing in 22 hours, just like our laborers. That's how islands work. They're 22 hours at a time. So in 22 hours, this will be a completed crop, which I can loot, and on average, you will get 9 of this crop. So I will get 9 Crenulated Burdock here, worth 333 each. It's not bad. That's on average. Sometimes you get more, sometimes you get less. But on average, you'll get 9, and that is with premium. But if you water it, okay, let's talk about without watering. Right now, there is a 73.3% chance that I get a seed back. It's not guaranteed. Sometimes I'll just get the crop back. Well, 9 times 333 is not going to be worth the cost of the seed, right? So again, there is a chance that I get the seed back, but there's a chance I don't, and then I lose money because I lost the seed. All right, but if I water it, then I will add a 53.33% chance for the seed. So let's go ahead and water it. This is going to cost me 125 focus because I am maxed out at watering this crop. It is level 100. Here's my destiny board. Scrolling down to the crop section. Well, everything's maxed out because it's the test server, okay? I didn't actually max out all this stuff. But in the live server, my crop growing is level 100. So there you go. And I'm going to talk about focus costs in a minute, but because we watered the crop, it now has a 126.66% chance to give a seed. So that means it will always give a seed, but 26.66% chance of the time, or 1 in 4 if you round down, I will get 2 seeds. So what do you do with 2 seeds? Well, what this means is that I will always, every single day, I will be able to replant this for free forever. But if I get 2 seeds, I could either plant extra and gamble, or I can sell the seed to someone else. Now, doing lots and lots of math on this subject, it is more beneficial for you to only water the crops that you can sustain per day, guaranteed to get those seeds back and replant them, and any bonus seeds you receive to sell them on the market. That is a mountain of math, and I'm not going to share with that. I've shared it in plenty of other videos. If you want to learn the math, search crops on my channel. Just search crops. I talk about crops in other games, so maybe type Albion crops, and that should show you the math, okay? But if you're a gambling man and you want that 73% chance to get the seed back, you could plant extra and keep it going. Sometimes you can keep it going for a while, but most likely, like a casino, you're going to crash and burn, okay? And yeah, so every 22 hours, you're basically printing free money. Now, this does cost focus. This costs a lot of focus. So let's talk about how much focus it costs. So at level 0, when you first start growing crops, it's going to cost you 1,000 focus to water a crop. Not 125, 1,000. So that means you can water 10 of these little squares. This is one plot. I have 5 plots. Okay, a plot is 9 squares. So if you can only water 10 squares, then you only need 2 farm plots to start out with. That's all you need. That's your limit. Turn everything else into houses if you want. Or don't, or, you know, level up and then expand as you grow, right? You know, literally grow. And at level 100, it only costs 125 focus. This means at 10,000 focus gained per day, this is 80 squares of crops that you can water and grow and sustain for free forever. And yeah, you'll notice that I have a bag of 400 seeds, not 80 seeds, 400. This is because my seeds keep growing and growing, and I just haven't bothered to sell them. Sometimes, if I want, I could grow all 400 seeds if I want, because one plot is 9 squares, so I would need how many plots for 400 squares? You get where I'm going with this. You can really scale your farming, and like say there's a shortage of burdock on the market, and I know there's going to be a shortage if I look at the market trends and whatnot, then I could turn all of my seeds into crops if I want, or I can just sell the seeds and keep the silver. It's completely up to you how you want to do it, but how much money can you make doing this? So, at level 100 crop growing, 10,000 focus a day, you can generate 500,000 silver on average. Every single day. This is 15 million a month. Well, premium on most servers is more than that, so you're not quite making your money back on premium. Is this a good use of focus? Most people will say no, because most people want to make more than 15 million a month, so they will tell you to instead spend your focus on refining or crafting. And if you spend your focus, in my experience, on being a chef instead of crop growing, you get way better returns, because I can turn 10,000 focus on a chef into 5 million silver, or I can make 10 times more silver cooking food with a maxed out chef than I can growing crops on a maxed out crop grower. 10 times the silver. However, crop growing takes 2 minutes per day. It's 2 minutes. You water the crops, you pick them up, you plant them. That's all you got to do. It's really quick, it's really easy, it's brainless, and it's guaranteed, and there's no doing math, there's no traveling, there's no transporting, there's no spreadsheeting. You just do the thing, you're done, you got some spending cash for the day. It's great. And that's why I recommend it, especially for new players who haven't figured out how to spreadsheet, who haven't figured out how to do the math, who don't have 111 million silver to dump into being a chef to try to max that out, right? It is a huge investment to level up crafting, and it is a huge mountain of math every single day to do refining. Now, I know expert refiners who, you know, they have automated spreadsheets, they have programs that scan the markets for them. Those guys are kicking ass, but those guys also own the refining plots, okay? When you refine goods in a city, anything above tier 2, you're paying someone else money. You're making someone else richer. When you are crop growing, you aren't making anyone else richer. You're not giving away your money to someone else. And all the people that hype up the refining stations and say, oh, you should refine, it's the best money ever. It's not the best money ever. It's slightly better than crop growing. When you do the math, it's 700 to 800, thousand a day, sometimes 1 million if you're really lucky and the market sucks. But unless you own the crafting station, you're not making nearly as much as the guys that own the damn station. And if the guys that own the stations decide, hey, they're in a cartel now, and hey, we want to fuck over the economy, then you will not benefit at all from refining. They will. You won't. They're gonna penny pinch it down to the 0.01% profit margin, where if you don't own the station, you're not profiting. You're losing money, or you're making less money than growing crops. This is why I tell people growing crops is better. Yes, initially it's not, but because it's less work, no math involved, and there's no market swings. And when a market does swing, it can only swing in your favor. If there's an overabundance of crops, the price normalizes. If there's a shortage of crops, you make double to triple this number, all right? You're making 500,000 silver. Well, on a shortage, you're making 1.5 million a day. It's really, really good. And if you save up your crops for a shortage, then you're always making 1.5 million per day. It's absolutely amazing, and I recommend it for everyone that plays with premium that doesn't want to bother with the headache of crafting. Now, of course, your first day, because you can only water 10 crops, you're only going to be making about 62,500 silver. It's not a lot for your first day, but you will level up quickly enough, and once you hit 100, then the money flows. And for more information, please go to my channel, click the search button, and type in whatever you want. If you type Kindle, you can get rich by raising swift claws. You can type horse. Let's see, horses are big money. How to get rich raising horses. There's a bunch of math on the screen. You can type crops. Like I said earlier, now that's paleo. You don't want to watch a paleo video. So you might have to type like Albion crops. There you go. Crop profits revealed, the crop meta. The #1 best crop secrets to farm revealed. 500k silver in 12 minutes. All right, like there's a whole lot of things, right, for crops. And again, you can even type individual stuff. Like you can type carrot. Maybe I made a video about carrots. Oh, look, I put it in the keywords for this one, so I talk about carrots in that video. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. But you get the idea, right? 2024 crop profits. There is so many things that you can grow on your island. You can try let's type in ox. Oxes are easy silver. There's a bunch of math on the screen. Oh my god, look. You can type in, what else can you grow on an island? Stag? Let's type stag. Stags make big bucks. Look at that. We're growing stags. I talk about growing stags. Yeah, how to get rich raising stags. There you go. Boom. 8,000 views. Go educate yourself. So what about crafting and refining stations on your island? Should you make them? Should you not? And the answer is generally no, you shouldn't. For instance, if you craft on your own islands, you don't receive as large of a percentage return than if you use the stations in the city. And that's just a game mechanic. You get a bonus return rate when you refine, when you craft potions out here. Whereas if I go to an island and craft potions, I won't get nearly as much of a return rate. It sucks, but that's just how it is. And generally, you'll have to do some math. And if you have your own crafting stations, you have to feed them, which can cost you even more silver. You have to upgrade them, build them, etc. It is generally not worth the mathematical headache to even bother, as most of the station owners are going to adjust their prices according to the economy and according to the sweat lord cartels, what their spreadsheets tell them. Because if no one's using their stations, they're not making a profit, you're not making a profit, the economy will be in shambles. So they generally try to get it where you can get a little bit of profit, but more so than owning your own station. But if the cartel is up in arms and trying to control and manipulate the economy, and they're overcharging, then maybe a station might be the mathematical solution, but generally it's not. And to get the most crafting percent bonus, you have to go to the black zone. and go to one of these hideouts that's a crafting hideouts, which, well, this is the test server, so I don't know if I can find one. But, yeah, there's generally hideouts randomly. Yeah, here's some hideouts, right? And they're always named something really stupid that I can't read. That one's name's Push. That's a good name. There you go. Push. Push! It's a boy. Oh. But anyway, the point is that you have to do crafting and crafting hideouts for the most possible percentage return. And you have to do it on a bonus week. It's 20% Shapeshifter Staff Day. Oh boy. Well, in that weapons case, you got to do that one at, what is it? Brazilian, I think. But the point is that generally you shouldn't worry too much about it. If you really want to do the math, you can, but you're just better off saving your time and using the crafting stations in a town. And like I said earlier, having at least one crafting station, just a low tier one, just to put silver into is really, really useful. So if I go to administration, like I showed this earlier, I can deposit, 169 million. Boom, there we go. And I can log into a different character, and I can pull out 58 million. There we go. Very, very simple and easy to do. Way easier than buying and selling gold on the same account, and way better than putting a bunch of valuable items in a chest for your alt characters to sell. It's just easy. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to build a house and fully furnish it with laborers and the like. So let's begin. We have an empty plot right over here. I also have this empty plot, but we have an empty plot right here. I'm going to push H and click on the house icon and click house, and this is what we need to build it. I've got the materials in my inventory. So we're going to place that house down. It's going to cost 100 silver to place down, whatever. I'm going to click on the rubble. I'm going to click these plus symbols to feed it the materials. There we go. We now have a tier 2 house. Look at this beaut. A little tier 2 little tent. I'm going to click on this parchment on the front of the house here, and then I'm going to click upgrade. All right, now you could start hiring laborers now if you want, but let's upgrade it more first, because that way we can fit more laborers. Right now I can only put one laborer in a tent. That sucks. Let's get it to tier 5. So we're going to upgrade from tier 2 to tier 3. And it's going to take these materials. So let's begin. And I already have the materials in my inventory, so we're just going to add, and add. There we go. Now it's a little wooden straw hut shack. Yay! Isn't that nice? Let's upgrade it once again. Same thing this time, needing more materials and, different materials. There we go. Now we have a nice little, what is this? This is a tier 4, well, it's not showing up on the map yet, but here we go. Now we have a slight respectable basic house. Still not good enough for my taste. Let's upgrade this bad boy once again from tier 4 to tier 5. Right now we can only put 2 laborers in here, so we're going to upgrade that to tier freaking 5. There we go. This is a nice tier 5 house. Nice, big, and roomy. Very, very, no bathrooms, of course. But anyway, let's furnish this bad boy. But first, let's get some laborers. Now, you can put any tier of laborer in any tier house. This is a tier 8 mercenary. It does not matter what tier the laborer is, as long as it's high enough to do the job that you want it to do. Because this is a tier 5 house, we want up to tier 5 furniture. Like, your furniture items are beds and tables. So, because we can put 3 laborers in here, let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to click our laborer contract. You can buy these from the market, or you can buy the tier 2 version straight from the house. I don't know how it works. You just summon them from the nether. So if I want to place a lumberjack, I can hire a lumberjack for 1,000. Now I have a little placeable lumberjack, and I could just slam them down in the house. There we go. You hammer him into the floorboards, and there he is with his little bag. I can talk to him, and I'm just going to pick him up because I don't want a tier 2 lumberjack. All right, so there he is in my inventory as a contract, okay? But I have these tier 8 contracts, so I'm going to go ahead and click place, and you can see that this one has a nice cupboard, and he's a little bit more geared. And there we go. He is getting ready on his cupboard. If I click on him, he will be ready in 30 minutes, so you can't use them immediately. You got to give them some time to get unpacked, settle in, and move in, take off their boots. It's been a long day for them, right? And we can place up to 3 of these guys in one house. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. There we go. We've got 3 laborers in the house. But these guys, they don't have beds, they don't have tables, nothing. They're very unhappy. If you get to manage, their happiness is 0. And this will take time to become happy again, right? Right now, they were happy when I contracted them. So this bar is going to shrink into nothing if I don't do something about that, right? So, because beds give happiness to 1 laborer, we need 3 beds because we have 3 laborers. So I'm going to go ahead and just put these beds down in the corner. And yeah, I'm having them face the wall. I don't know, whatever. You can design it however you want, okay? However you want to design your house is fine. They don't need access to be able to walk to the bed. It's theoretical, okay? They just stand there all day. They don't ever actually lay in the bed. So we have 3 beds. Now if I click on them and go to happiness, now they have 250 out of 400. Now, if these laborers weren't as high tier, it would be 250 out of 250 if they were tier 5. But because they're tier 8, there's room to grow. And putting tier 8 beds in a tier 8 house, it would increase their happiness more, but you only need so much happiness for the job you're going to give them, right? You don't have to worry about maxing these numbers out. You'll never truly fully max the number out. You'll get close, but don't worry about maxing it. Now we need a table. 1 table is good for 6 laborers, so I'm going to go ahead and just put a table in the corner there. It fits nice and snug. There we go. If we click this tier 5 table, it gives happiness for up to 6 laborers. Now, we only have 3, so it doesn't give more. It just gives them the maximum. So there we go. The table's done. The beds are done. Now we need trophies. There are different trophies for different laborers, but you also have generalist trophies. What is a generalist trophy? That is these things. They're called Adventurer's Handbook. We have Magical Tome, Ancient Scripture, Tome of Knowledge. You'll find these in the market under generalist trophies. And because we have 3 laborers, 1 trophy is good for 3 laborers. So I'm going to take this tier 2 trophy and just slam it down. And yes, these guys are tier 8 in a tier 5 house. I know this is getting a little confusing, but don't worry. I can use up to tier 5 trophies in this tier 5 house. Up to, right? So this is a tier 2 trophy. It's going to give 5 happiness for up to 3 laborers. Because this is a generalist trophy, it is good for all laborers. All right? So here is a tier 3 trophy. There we go. And then the tier 4 trophy. And Bandit Event has begun. Oh boy. And then a tier 5 trophy. So I cannot put a tier 6 trophy down. The game would not let me, and if it could, it would not do anything because the house is tier 5. You can't put tier 6 furniture in a tier 5 house. It won't let you do it. But for the purpose of this, we don't need anything above tier 5. Now, because these are mercenaries, they want mercenary trophies, which I happen to have. They act the exact same way, but only towards mercenaries. So this is a tier 2 mercenary trophy. I'm going to go ahead and put that down. There we go. And so if I click on it, it gives 10 happiness for 3 of the right kind of labor, which would be mercenaries. If these were skinners, gamekeepers, they don't care about mercenary trophies. They only care about gamekeeping trophies. So now I'll put down a tier 3 trophy. There we go. And then a tier 4 trophy. And no, you can't put down more than one. You could put down more than 1, but it won't do anything because it only makes up to 3 laborers happy. You can't just sit here and stack tier 5 trophies and make them super happy. I wish you could. I wish it was that simple. Now, you'll notice here that I have 2 more slots for furniture. Well, what can I do with those 2 slots? Well, for happiness, nothing. You're done. It's that easy. It's that simple. You can put treasure chests down to store items. That's what I like to do. That's what I personally recommend that you do for your houses, is put some treasure boxes down. Or you can put a rug or some other decoration. It doesn't matter. The decorations don't make them happier. Their happiness will max out. Now, it normally takes 16 hours on a brand new fresh laborer for them to settle their happiness. Now, because these are tier 8 laborers going down to tier 5, they're going to lose happiness till they hit this little bar right here, and then they'll stop. They'll remain happy. And for the sake of the jobs that I'm going to have them do, this is more than enough happiness. If I give them a tier 5 journal, they will be 130% effective, and anything below tier 5 will be 150% effective. So if I wanted to feed these guys tier 5 journals, I would want the house to be tier 6 with tier 6 trophies, tier 6 beds, tier 6 table, etc. You get the idea. Hopefully, you get the idea. But because I'm going to be giving them tier 4 journals, a tier 5 house is going to give me 150% return, which is the highest return you can give them. Now, not all laborers get a special trophy. Your gathering laborers and mercenaries do. However, your crafting mercenaries do not. I'm sorry, your crafting laborers do not. So, lumberjack, stonecutter, which is stone mining, prospector, which is metal mining, cropper, which is fiber harvesting, gamekeeper, which is skinning, fisherman, self-explanatory, and mercenary, which is killing mobs. Those are the ones with special trophies which you can put in houses and guild halls in order to make them happier. However, blacksmiths, fletchers, which is crafting like bows and leather armors, imbuers, which is crafting magical items, and tinkerers, which is crafting furnitures and tools, do not have special trophies, and they will not be as happy as the gathering laborers, which means they will not give you as big of a return. Now, your gathering laborers will give you a return of raw resources, and the crafting laborers will give you a return of refined resources. So this is why you can't make them as happy. And yeah, so how do you fill a journal? So what is a journal? A journal is something that you can give experience points to, and it doesn't take away from your character. Your character gets fame, but also the journal itself can get fame. So let's look at it at an example. We have a tier 6 gamekeeper, and the gamekeeper will sell journals. He will sell up to tier 6 journals because he is a tier 6 laborer. So he sells 3 different types of journals. He has the gamekeeper journal, which is filled by, in this case, skinning. If I take a gamekeeper journal, and let's go ahead and just buy one so you understand. I bought a gamekeeper journal. It's empty. Every time I skin an animal, and it's a little weird with gathering, but you can gather up to 3 tiers higher than the, I'm sorry, 2 tiers higher. So if I skin a tier 2, a tier 3, or a tier 4 animal, I can fill this journal with the fame that I received by skinning an animal, right? If I skin a tier 5 animal, that's too high. It will not fill this journal. So let me show you what that looks like. Here we have a tier 2 impala, and we have our journal. So we're going to kill the impala. There we go. We've killed the impala. Now you'll notice this journal has not received any fame. You don't get it for killing the animal. You have to skin the animal. Let's skin it. And there we go. I've skinned it twice. Now that's 3 times. Now, you'll notice that each time I'm getting 13 fame, 4 of those fame points are from premium. So it should be 9, 18, 27. I should have gotten, I don't know exactly. But if I open the book now, which is an open book, we have 27 out of 450 fame. So now if I go to these impalas and go ahead and nuke them down, we're going to open this up and look at the fame count as I skin. Watch it go up. Doot, 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 and doot, doot, doot. There you go. So by skinning, I am adding fame to this book, but at the same time, the fame is also going to my character. It is not split between my character and the book. It is simply, we get the equal amount of fame between the both of us. Once you fill up the book, it will be a filled tome. A filled journal, rather. So here's my big pile of journals. Yes, these things can add up. I have 88 filled tier 2 journals. They're 450 out of 450. And if I take the stack and then I go to the laborer, as I showed earlier in the video, I can give 1 book to 1 laborer, get 150% yield return, which will give me 57 tier 2 rugged hide. So it's just free hide. Now, I got 48 hides from the ones that I skinned, so you can see it's not a lot, but it's something, okay? It's something from nothing. And then when the laborer returns a day later, you get the empty book back. So it's just a more multiplier than what you're just making more from something you're already doing. But also, players are lazy. They'll sell these on the market. You can buy them off the market, and if you don't want to gather, you can just feed journals to laborers and make money that way. You'll have to do the math to see if it's worth buying the filled journal, and if you don't have laborers, well then, you can fill the journal and sell it on the market for more than the empty book, and you'll always turn a profit by doing so, except for mercenary laborers. Mercenary laborers, we'll talk about those in a minute, but let's continue with the gathering journals, right? So here is a tier 3 Gamekeeper's Journal, and like I said, you can add fame to the journal by skinning or harvesting the resource of an equal to or 2 tiers higher. This means that if I skin a tier 5 animal, I can add fame to this, but if I skinned a tier 2 animal, it will not add fame to this. If I skin a tier 6 animal, it will not add fame to this. Hopefully you understand how filling journals works, but there are 2 other journals to learn. We have the Gamekeeper's Journal, which we just talked about. Now we have a Generalist Trophy Journal. These journals can be filled doing any activity in the game that gives fame, and it can be done at any tier. That means, I'll go ahead and just buy a cheap one here. We have a tier 2 Generalist Trophy Journal. And this thing takes 2,400 fame to fill. Well, if I kill a monster worth 10,000, I can fill 5 of these books instantly. And if I pull 10 enemies worth 10,000 fame, then I can fill 50 of those books instantly. So what does a Generalist Trophy Journal do? For the most part, they're just a journal you would carry with you that can be used to level up a laborer if you don't feel like doing that laborer's activity. For instance, these tier 6 skinners, I don't feel like feeding them journals at all. I just don't feel like it, but I want to level them up. So I can take this tier 6 Generalist Trophy Journal, which only needs 12,000 fame to fill, which to me is like 1 enemy in a tier 4 blue zone static, and I can give it to the laborer, and in 1 day, he will possibly give me back a Generalist Trophy, which I could put in a house. But these things are there's so many people doing this that these Generalist Trophies are absolutely worthless, okay? Because so many people do it. The primary use on an established server like West or Asia, and by now Europe. I mean, Europe's been out 2 weeks. It's dead. This market is dead on Europe. It's to give the laborer experience points, which you won't see until they return. But because this is not fully furnished, it's a 93% return rate. You want it at 100%. And it's a percent chance to gain the experience points. Sometimes the laborer will return and he won't get any experience at all. So you just give them another Generalist Trophy Journal and you hope for the best. Now, the third journal, which I don't have and I don't have one filled, is the Trophy Journal of that specific laborer. So in this case, this is a Gamekeeper's Trophy Journal. So, as you know, certain laborers have or like certain trophies. Well, you see this tier 5 stuffed bear head? Well, to get one, I would have to fill the tier 5 Gamekeeper's Trophy Journal. Now, you've seen how much fame it takes to fill a Gamekeeper's Journal, how much fame to fill a Generalist, and how much fame to fill the Gamekeeper's Trophy version. So, here we have, 2,400 fame for the Generalist. Okay, not bad. And now for the Trophy Journal, it's 1,350. So it's 3 times as long to fill. And on an established server, you're better off with your time and money just buying the trophy. Okay, just go buy the stuffed bear head. Don't try to generate one yourself. That's a waste of time. However, this changes when you have tier 8 trophies, okay? Some of these damn trophies are insanely, ridiculously expensive. I have 5 Ghost Hemp trophies. Well, this is worth 10 million, okay? And, yeah. Buying 5 of these would be hella expensive. And these are the cheap ones. Those are cheap. Okay, that's 7 million. This is 10 million. This is 12 million. Like, the price could get... what about skinning ones? The skinning ones are... Oh, here we go. Yeah, tier 8 stuffed dire bear heads. 17.5 million. Dude, they are very, very expensive. And the market does not have enough ever if you want to do, like, tier 8, like guild hall stuff, right? So, yeah, that's what journals are. That's how you fill journals. So how do you fill... the crafting journals? Well, you have to craft. And to fill a crafting journal, it's not like the gathering journals. You have to craft at the exact tier to fill the journal. You can't craft below a tier or higher than the tier. So if you have a blacksmith journal and you want to craft tier 5 broadswords, you need a tier 5 blacksmith's journal, and that's how you fill that, by crafting. So if you are crafting without using journals, you are losing money big time. Finally, we have the mercenary journals. The mercenary journals are filled in a similar way. You can fill them, I don't believe you can fill them with higher tiers, I actually forget. But like if I want to fill a tier 5 mercenary journal, I go to a tier 5 zone and I fight tier 5 mobs that give fame, like just any regular mob in the open world will do. And you can see here, I only need 4,368 mob fame to fill a tier 5 journal. Well, if I pull a tier 5 static, like 5 enemies and they're giving 20,000 fame each, then this is like 4 books per pull or more. You get the idea, right? Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to portray here. But mercenary journals reward you with raw silver, which I have one here ready to go. This is a tier 8 mercenary. I don't have the right trophies in this house, but even then, the beds and the table make up for it. So essentially, mercenaries work a little bit differently. The possible return is 1,746 silver to 3,492. It's going to be one or the other, not really so much something in between. There's a 50% chance to get the 3,492. That's basically what that means for a tier 5 journal. And the higher tier, the more silver you get. So if you like to fame farm all day, you should be filling mercenary journals. However, mercenary journals, because they are so easy to fill, buying an empty one is actually going to be more expensive than buying a filled one, because so many people fill these up and then they get sick of managing the laborer that they just want to offload it. Like right now, I have 577 tier 4 journals. I can fill these in 30 minutes, okay? In 30 minutes. Like, so if you're buying journals for the first time, never buy journals from the laborer. Don't go here and buy them. You're paying too much. Go to the market. There will be players selling these journals for much cheaper, okay? So now that you know how to furnish a house and how laborers work and how journals work, what about guild halls? All right, so guild halls are the exact same thing as a house, but because your trophies, help certain amounts of labor. So like one generalist trophy journal will help 3 laborers. This means that you, instead of 1 per house, like we did, you would need 5 per guild hall. So you would have 5 generalist trophies per tier. This is a tier 8 guild hall, so I need tiers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Once you have that, you then, if it's a specialized labor, like for instance, this is a mercenary, so I would need tiers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 mercenary trophies, and I would need 5 of those for 15 laborers. And then, if you're at tier 8, you would need trophy sharks. You would need 3 of these, because 1 trophy shark gives 5 happiness to 10 laborers. Okay, you only need 2. I have 3 here. I don't know why I have... No, I only have... That's only 2. You only need 2 trophy sharks. It's been changed. And then if you're on West and you happen to be very rich, you can get Explorer Spyglass. And this will give 5 happiness for up to 3 laborers. So you would need 5 of those. Then you would need 3 tables, because 1 table is worth 6. So, but you have a furniture limit. You have a furniture limit. You can't afford enough furniture to put 8 generalist trophies and 8 of that specific type of trophies, as well as the sharks, as well as the spyglasses, with 3 tables and 15 beds. So you have a choice. You can limit your laborers to 12 in a tier 8 house, tier 8 guild hall. So you can remove a table to add another, trophy if you want. Or you can just accept the fact that at tier 8, you're only going to get like 137% return rate. All right, that's basically it. And so sharks are the best, and then you have the spyglasses. Then you have the trophies for, like, for instance, this mercenary. Or we'll use a gamekeeper as an example. I'll just show you a quick example. A specific trophy for a specific laborer, in this case gamekeepers, gives 10 happiness, whereas the generalist trophies give 5 happiness. So you would fill the guild hall first with the trophies of that specific laborer. Which in this case, right now, this house is filled with tinkerers. And like I said, that's a crafting laborer. They do not have specialized trophies. That's why this house is filled with tier 2 through tier 8 generalist trophies, okay? I know this is a little confusing and hard, but for now, just build tier 5 houses and guild halls, and you won't have to worry about it, okay? But I've got all the trophies and swaps in here and all the different laborers, so yeah. That's guild halls. That's furnishing guild halls and making guild hall, dudes happy. Like, these are tier 8 tinkerers with the proper, trophies, and this is their happiness level. 400 on bed, 400 on table, only 45 out of 100 on trophy. Because, again, they cannot get any happier. Trophies do not exist for tinkerers. So 845 out of 900 is as close as we can freaking get. Whereas in the mercenary, well, I can technically turn this into a 90. I could make this into a 90 out of 100, which would get me pretty damn close, but I would have to take away 3 laborers to take away a table to have enough space. So not exactly 45. It'd be more like 80 out of 100. I don't know. It's the math on it's really weird, but we're talking like very small percent increases of return rate. I'm talking like 5%. It's really not going to make much of a difference if you can squeeze 5% out of a labor. I'd rather have 15 laborers at 138% than 12 at 145%. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense to you. What about the return rates on journals? Which is the best? Which one should you be using? Why should you be using it? Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you right now, the math is a little weird on it, but here is my personal take, okay? So, if I only need 450 fame to fill a tier 2 journal, and it gives me 57 hide, but I need 900 fame to fill a tier 3 journal, and it gives me, I don't know how many tier 3 hides, I have to see, it's a time versus silver profit. So, I take the tier 3 hides that it would give, and I take how long that would take to fill, and see if that beats the silver of the tier 2. Currently, it doesn't. Last time I did the math, the tier 2 Gamekeeper journal was the de facto journal to use in a tier 4 blue zone, because it was way faster to fill, and more profitable to sell tier 2 hide than it was to sell tier 3 hide. But then you have, after tier 4 is the tier 5 stuff. I'm sorry. Tier 4 and up gets a little confusing, because if you have a tier 4 journal and you try to turn it in for your gathering ones, you have a % chance to get enchanted materials. But you also aren't guaranteed a certain amount. It's a range. You have like 0 to 27 hides instead of guaranteed 57. But out of that 0 to 27 hides, 1 or 2 of them might be 0.1, might be 0.2, and in very rare cases might even be 0.3 enchanted. So the math gets really hard to do the higher tier the journal is, but at the same time, the higher the tier of the journal, the longer it takes to fill, and after tier 5, it gets, full loot PvP bullshit that you got to deal with, and that's a headache in and of itself. Like, right now, this Gamekeeper journal at tier 7 is 14,400, and I don't even know how much of a return it would give me. I've done the math in the past. You can search my channel like I've already explained to you, type in journals, and I've done the math on a lot of this stuff already. I'm not going to do it again from scratch. I don't feel like doing the same work that I did, half a year ago. The return rates are still the same. They didn't adjust or change anything from half a year ago or even a year ago. They did change it about 4 years ago, though. So if you're looking at a video that's older than 4 years, from now, that is, then you can't go by those values. And there's a little bit of stuff on the wiki, but yeah, like here's a tier 6. Apparently I've made a video already on this, so that's why it's in there. But tier 6, I hand this over, 93% return rate. You can see I can get 0 to 30 robust hides, and this is 0 to 30, etc., etc. You're not getting 0 to 30 tier 4 or 6.3 hides. You're not. If you rolled the dice a billion, million, trillion times, you might get 30. It's never going to happen. You'll be lucky to get 1. You'll be lucky to get 1 of these once a month, maybe. Maybe a little bit more than once a month, but it's so freaking rare. But there is a chance. There is a chance. That's part of the fun, part of the gamble. Anyway, What else can we explain about islands? That's basically it. Also, guild islands get a chest you can store stuff in, and you can share. You can, manage it so you can mule stuff to your friends or alt accounts, whatever it is. Also, you can place down these Morgana crates. These are outdoor chests. And if you don't want to do that, you can place regular house chests, which have to be in a house or a guild hall, so you can store more of your stuff. Great, great, great fun, good times. All right. And that's it. That is the video. That is the beginner's guide to islands. Hopefully this educated you. Hopefully this helped you out. Now you understand why you should get an island. It should be a huge priority. Islands are a massive, massive way to boost your economy. And if you plan to play this game longer than 8 months, the sooner you get guild islands going, the sooner you get your personal islands going, the more silver you will have in the future. It is pivotal that you're using journals when you're gathering, when you're fame farming, when you're crafting. It is absolutely vital. Now, if you're crafting potions or you're crafting food, there are no laborers and no journals for that. Well, there's generalists, but leveling laborers doesn't really work anymore on West. It still works on Asia, and it is a huge moneymaker right now on Europe. And members know what I'm talking about. Members-only videos about that. So they're already on the ball. If you're just now seeing this video, it's been 2 or 3 weeks since they've been told about it. But now you have a hint at what that is. So get your ass to the island vendor, pop up those islands as soon as you can afford it, and get to cranking. It's absolutely worth it. It will pay dividends later. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Swole Benji. Leave a comment, leave a like. And I just realized that all the videos I've been filming, I turned my watermark off. That means people are going to be stealing my videos. Oh my god. Anyway, with that said, click the video on the right side of your screen, or someone will plagiarize or steal your content in the future. And if you don't make anything, congrats on being rich, I guess. I don't know, man. Just click the video on the right side of your screen, please.